Welcome back to the My Aloha Project. This is the third installment in the video series. It's been a little bit longer than I'd hoped before I did another video, but life has been absolutely amazing. Made some big boy moves when it came to business this week and leveled up in some other areas of life. I'm collaborating with some amazing artists in my music, and my business and a bunch of other things are going really well. So I haven't had as much time as I hoped to do these videos, but I feel inspired at the moment. I've had almost half a dozen people around me reach out to me with some pretty crazy things going on in their life, and that's kind of what inspired the topic of this video. So today I want to talk about when shit happens. Yep, I just swore. That's gonna happen from time to time on this channel. I don't swear a lot, but when I'm trying to get my point across or it's pertinent to what I'm talking about, I will probably curse. So, for the baby ears, if you don't like it, please don't watch it. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Today's topic, when shit happens. Every once in a while, it seems like the universe serves us with lessons, if you will, or earth-shattering things that completely shake up and change our paradigm and the way that we look at and experience the world. For me, this has come in a couple of different ways over the last couple of years. One was when I had a major health crisis, basically had a complete adrenal shutdown and candida overgrowth, a bunch of gut problems, food problems. Like I couldn't eat hardly anything without getting sick. Some hormone issues. I was basically like just tanked, man. I didn't want to do anything or go anywhere or be around anyone. I had no energy. It was terrible. And the other one for me was when I moved here, and my everything I owned was back in Utah, back at home. And I sold all my material possessions, and I left everyone and everything that I had known for almost 30 years to come here. And I came here with only one person, and then that one person decided that she didn't want to be here. So I was left by myself to figure it all out. Yeah, shit happened. And over the course of the last couple of months, I've had a lot of insight about what to do when shit happens, when things go wrong, when things get turned upside down, when your plans and your expectations and your attachments just get wrecked by the universe. And I think the one thing that I've kind of come to understand about the whole process is there's two ways to phrase it. It can either be shit happens, oh my God, what's going on, my life is over, or it can be shift happens. Oh, things are drastically changing in my life and shifting, and it's time to move on to a new perspective or a new paradigm. And I think the only difference between the two are your perspective. You know, it's like the optical illusion, well, any optical illusion, but specifically I'm thinking about the optical illusion of it looks like two vases. People either see it's black and white, and people either see it as two vases or two faces. And it really depends on your perspective. You can either look at things when they shift in a major way in your life as bad stuff is happening to me, this is happening to me, or this is happening for me. Right? So the perspective change there is drastic in what you get out of it. For me, one of my biggest things that I can think that I've changed in my perspective since getting here was when I got here and all this went down. For about a month after, I was just super depressed and out of it and trying to figure out what to do with myself and how to get by. And people would say, man, your life is so great. You live in Hawaii, like you live in paradise. Everything's good. You have all these opportunities. Your health is good. You know, your wealth is good. Your businesses are booming and doing well. You know, think about all those things. And I would say, you know what? Being lost in paradise is still being lost. And I thought I was so wise and so, like, I don't know, so funny or so whatever. I was being all depressed and dramatic and shit. And I said that for like a good month, man. That was my perspective. Like, yeah, sure, I'm in paradise. I'm in this amazing place, and it's amazing. Like, I can go to the beach every day if I want to. I can watch the sunset. It looks like a postcard, you know. It's what most people dream of. But I was like, being lost in paradise is still being lost. My focus, my perspective was on being lost. And over the course of the summer, as I've worked through all this stuff and I've tried to shift my focus and my perspective and my paradigm and see things differently, I've started to see things more like, well, what I started to say to people was, as I got healthier and I started to think clearer and change my perspective, I said, being lost in paradise is still paradise, right? It is what you make it, okay? So if you want to be lost, be lost. If you want to be in paradise, be in paradise. It really depends on how you frame the situation. And I think that process really depends on, are you driven by fear or are you driven by love? They say that there are two primary human emotions, and those emotions are fear and love. Like every emotion breaks down into one of those two things. And so, you know, if you're being driven by fear when something drastically shifts or drastically changes in your life, then you're focused on the pain because you're afraid of feeling something you don't want to feel. You're afraid of going through something that is going to tear you open and change you and hurt you. But if you are driven by love and you're thinking primarily in a space of love or acceptance, you get excited, right? The fear goes away and you go, okay, this thing has happened to me and I'm not ready for it and I'm not excited about it, but what is it here to teach me? What is it here to show me? How can I change from it? How am I gonna come out of this a better person, right? So fear, oh my God, my life sucks. Lost in paradise is still lost. Love, okay, there's something on the other side of this. I can overcome this. I can be a better person at the end of the day because of it. And I'm excited for what's on the other side. I might still be terrified. I might still have no idea where it's going or what's going to happen. But I'm excited, right? So another thing that I'll probably do a video on this later because I think this is a very important subject and I think we all go through it multiple times in our lives, but I think it's Melanie Beattie. It might be a different author, but the book is called From Abandonment to Healing. She talks about when we're abandoned or when we go through something traumatic, we go through a phase called the shattering phase. And it's kind of like you have this idea or these expectations of what your life is going to be like, or how your relationship with this person is going to be, or how this job is going to work out, or how whatever it is, insert here, is going to play out over time. And a lot of the time, very suddenly, the lightning bolt hits and the universe takes it away from you, or destroys the opportunity, or moves that person out of your life. And that we would call the shattering, right? When your whole paradigm just shatters. And it's not fun. It's not easy. And there's definitely a grief process involved, and it takes time to understand it and work through it and figure out what the hell is going on. But I guess what I've learned and what I would like to share is sometimes with the right perspective, again, that shattering can be your greatest gift, right? So many people have been through so many traumatic things, and so much worse than losing a job or a relationship, or people lose limbs. people have near-death experiences, or end up in wheelchairs. and they come back from it. And most often those people become motivational speakers or write books or share their experience of their shattering experience with the world, because it was in that moment that they found their greatest gift. It was in that moment that they connected to something bigger than them and realized that they could overcome so much and shift their perspective from shit happens to shift happens, and they could go through that shift and move forward with their lives in an amazing way. They often come out of it a million times better than they went in. And so as we go through that, we get through the shattering phase, and then we begin to rebuild, and then I don't know if you guys can hear the sheep or not, but this is like, there's dogs and sheep and all sorts of stuff over here, so I apologize if that's super loud, but that's living in the country on North Shore, Hawaii, Oahu. So, sorry, anyway, as we move through this process and we begin to change our perspective and our outlook on the situation, we start to feel pain. There's still things there, and we feel stuck. And I think if I've learned anything going through my own process, it's been that pain is your own resistance to change, right? It's your own resistance to moving out of that old space and into that new space. It's the dissonance between the old you and the new you. And as you're kind of birthing this process of moving forward into a new life, you resist, and that's what causes you pain. It's not actually the shift in your life that's causing you the pain. It's not moving away from the relationship or having your faculties taken away from you, losing a limb, or losing a job, or whatever it is you're dealing with, a divorce, whatever. Like, it's your resistance to moving through those things that cause you pain. So the more that you can let go, and the more that you can kind of coalesce with the experience and just go with the flow of life as it moves you down the river of existence, like, that's when the pain will go away. So you're kind of causing your own pain without even realizing it. And the thing is, most people resist it because they don't want to go through the experience. But that's what the shattering is. That's why we have multiple shatterings. That's why we have multiple experiences like this over our lifetime. A lot of the time, people will continue to attract the same type of partner in their life, or the same type of circumstance, or the same type of job, or whatever, the same experience over and over and over again. And they keep going through these shattering moments where things just tear them apart and they get knocked down. And then, instead of accepting the change and shifting, they just resist, and they try to go back to that old way of being. And the universe is constantly self-correcting, so it's constantly putting you back into that opportunity to be broken open again, to be shattered again, so that you can pick up the pieces and rebuild into something new. So, I'm still moving through this process in my life. I'm still grieving the loss of my relationship. I'm still understanding how to be alone and to make myself happy and blah, blah, blah. But as I go through it, I think what I've learned is to stop resisting. I ask myself two questions. I ask myself, A, how is this growing my life? And B, what is this trying to show me about myself that I need to change, that I need to shift? Right? First question, how is this growing my life? And I might not get an answer, but I constantly keep an eye out for it. I'm constantly watching, like for things showing up in my life. Oh, okay, I'm doing this different, or I'm doing that different, or this person showed up in my life, or this opportunity showed up in my life, because I'm growing, I'm moving forward, and I'm starting to see why this happened to me. I'm starting to see why I was broken open in the first place, which gives my pain and gives my struggle some kind of purpose. And it makes me feel a hell of a lot better knowing that I'm moving forward in some area of my life because this thing happened. Second question is, what is it trying to show me, right? Like, especially if you're going through the same patterns over and over and over again, the same type of people, the same type of relationships, the same type of jobs, the same car troubles, I don't know, like the same troubles in your life over and over and over again, keep showing up and keep manifesting. What is this earth-shattering thing trying to show me about my patterns, my behaviors, and my decisions that I need to change? And in that, you're accepting responsibility for your life and for the things that are happening to you, because you're the only person who can decide where your life goes and what happens to you. And yes, things are going to come at you. They're going to break you open, they're going to shatter you, but they're going to teach you something. And so long as you're open to this, you can do that alchemical process, right? Alchemy is taking lead and turning it into gold, or so it's been told, but the alchemical process is not about taking a rock and turning it into a precious metal. It's about taking old habits, old behavior patterns, addictions, the dark things about us, the lead, the spiritual lead in our soul, and turning it into spiritual gold, right? Like bringing light to the darkness. So that's what this process is all about. So, you know, when shit happens, you got to remember to say F it. Throw an F in there. It's shift happens. Okay? Shift your perspective. Something bad happened to me. I am not going to be a victim. I'm going to profit from this. I'm going to come out further ahead than I went in. And I'm going to be a better person, a stronger person, a happier person, whatever. And I'm going to shake all of my old stuff, shift into this new perspective, and walk out feeling a lot better. So this video ended up being a little bit longer than I'd hoped it would be. I just felt really called to make this right now, watching all my friends and family kind of struggle with the things that are shifting in their lives right now. There's a lot of it going on, and there's a lot of crazy juju floating around out there right now. That's a lot of stuff happening, and everyone's kind of feeling it. So, you know, if you're going through this, hopefully this video helped a little bit. Hopefully you can find something I said worth learning from, or you know, hopefully something I said here helps you guys. And you know, as you're going through this process, if it just happened to you, if you just had this shattering process happen, I feel for you, because it's not fun, and it sucks. But you know, try to shift your perspective, try to center yourself, try to ground, try to remember that if you change what you look at, the things you look at change, and you'll get through it. Just try to keep a positive perspective and ask those two questions. How is this growing my life, and what is it trying to show me that I can change about myself to come out in a better way than I went in? So thank you guys for listening to me ramble. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing, and thank you to everyone who reached out to support this project. I'm hoping to keep weekly videos coming through. It'll probably be about half this long. Who knows? I like to ramble. I talk a lot. So yeah, thanks for being here. Aloha and blessings to you all.